Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today said that Gopinath Munde could have been saved if he was wearing a seatbelt. Munde's death has pushed road safety concerns to national prominence. Politicians are now demanding that wearing seatbelts in the back seat also be made mandatory. But why has it taken the death of a VVIP for road safety rules to be implemented strictly?
It took a minister's tragic death to jolt the nation to take road safety rules seriously. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan confirming that wearing a seatbelt could have saved Gopinath Munde's life. Munde's death has pushed the government into making road safety a priority. The Health Ministry will soon launch an initiative to create awareness about safety protocols while driving. The ministry is also working on collaboration with NGOs on a multimedia campaign on road safety.
The need of the hour is European standard laws in India for traffic enforcement. So a combination of education and stronger laws will most certainly is expected to have some impact on the issue.
The statistics are alarming. There's one road accident every 4 minutes in India, 15 deaths every hour, 380 deaths every day. Not just that, India accounts for 10% of world's road accidents. But what is more alarming is the fact that despite these numbers, it's only now that road safety has become a national issue.
At this point of time, what is lacking gravely in India is a framework for road safety. What we are relying on is an archaic law that does not provide protection to children, that does not provide protection to pedestrians, cyclists, that does not define the licensing process properly, that does not define investigation and enforcement mechanisms.
It has taken one VVIP death to bring road safety to the forefront. There have been 1,000 others whose lives have been lost in road accidents. Are lives of common people less precious than the politicians? Bureau Report, headlines today.
After Gopinath Munde's tragic death, the clamour for better road safety norms is getting louder, especially among the political class. Listen into the voices from the corridors of power. Sadly, they only seem to care when they themselves are hit by something so unfortunate.
Number of committees have gone into this aspect of the road safety. What we do, we should put all these things, recommendation into action. And there is nothing which we cannot be tackled at all. It's always avoidable. I think we need to act upon it.
रोड सेफ्टी तो पूरे हिंदुस्तान में जरूरत है. रोड सेफ्टी क्या जो मोटर व्हीकल्स एक्ट है उसको लगता है आपको चेंज करना चाहिए? मोटर व्हीकल्स एक्ट से कुछ होगा या नहीं, लेकिन लाइसेंसिंग स्टेज पे, ड्राइविंग लाइसेंसिंग स्टेज पे बहुत कुछ करना जरूरी है.
ड्राइवर एजुकेशन, सिग्नल्स को हम लोगों को जारी रखना होगा. ये सोचना कि ये ऑफ आवर्स हैं तो सिग्नल्स ऑफ कर दें, ये ठीक नहीं है. आजकल ट्रैफिक राउंड द क्लॉक चलती है. लेकिन ड्राइवर एजुकेशन
केवल मोटर व्हीकल एक्ट में ही नहीं आवश्यक है कि उसमें बदलाव हो. जो ड्राइवर्स जिनको ट्रेनिंग मिलती है उनको भी सख्ती से हर एक निशान के बारे में मालूम होना चाहिए. कैसे
बढ़ती हुई आबादी सड़कों की सुरक्षा पर गंभीर प्रश्न खड़ा कर रही है. इस पर बैठ करके सचमुच संसद को विचार करना चाहिए.
Joining us now to discuss road safety and the sudden awakening that we are seeing here after the death of Gopinath Munde, Prince Singhal, he is a road safety expert. Dr. Sambit Patra is joining us here in the studio. He is a BJP spokesperson and Rashi Khan spokesperson of the Congress. Let me first go across to the road safety expert that we have with us here on the show, Prince Singhal. Can you help us understand the number of fatal accidents that take place that can be avoided clearly if people know road safety measures better and there are etiquettes that are followed by drivers?
India has dubious distinction of claiming number one in road fatalities and number of accidents, which is almost 5,60,000 accidents in India. Out of that, 1,38,000 are the deaths. So you see, which is a very alarming number, and this is happening everywhere on state highways. It's happening on NHI. It's happening on rural areas. It's happening in rural roads. So I think we need to work in a holistic manner and understand why these deaths are happening. And we need to find a mechanism. We need to find a mechanism of tackling them through 4 E's of road safety, which is enforcement, which plays a very crucial role, environment, engineering, and education. You know, and it is everybody's should get together, different departments of government, different ministries, public institutions, and everyone has to come together to solve this menace which is killing innocent life on Indian road.
Prince Singhal, I want to ask you one important aspect. Union Minister Harshvardhan said that if Gopinath Munde was perhaps wearing the seat belt, and it's not a norm in India to wear the seat belt in the back seat. Usually the law is enforced only for the front seats. So do you think that it is high time that that should be enforced, and then why hasn't it been done so far?
You know, I'm surprised that it has been talked about now. I mean, we are losing almost one person every 4 minutes. Almost 380 deaths happening on Indian road every day. Why this issue has been raised now? Just because a VIP has lost his life? As an activist and as founder of Campaign Against Drunken Driving, I've been fighting for this cause for the last 14 years. And I've been telling government, telling authorities that enforcement, which is the crucial part of road safety, should be rigorous, should be strong. If today, if we have enforcement across the country, uniform enforcement policy, we'll cut down by almost 25%.
Okay.
So definitely what Honorable Minister is saying is right.
Okay.
But why are we waking up now?
Absolutely.
We should have woken up.
Prince Singhal, I'll go across to the other guests now. I'm going across now to Sambit Patra to put that very question. Sambit, when it comes to your own, people have woken up, the politicians have woken up. We have seen so many road accidents happen, and as Prince Singhal was saying, so many innocent lives lost. Why haven't these laws been enforced then?
To take my words, it's not that just because a politician has met with a fatal accident and we all are sad today that we have woken up. It's not that in the past VVIPs have not died because of car crashes and road traffic accidents. We have seen as to how Mr. Gyani Jail Singh and Sahib Singh Verma met with fatal accidents. We do come to debates. We discuss and debate these issues only when the nodal point comes to our life. But the problem is we really have to implement, and I believe, for God's sake, that this time we really wake up and we start implementing what we are debating and discussing. But Maha, the bigger issue is the attitude. Remember, this particular accident, the fatal accident, the unfortunate accident of Mr. Gopinath Munde took place in an area which is supposed to be the heart of the country. It is in the heart of the capital of this country, so it had all the infrastructure that the country needs. It had red lights functioning. It had best roads that is possible in the country, but in spite of that, the accident took place. So we have to give a second thought also. Where things went wrong, who, where, why jumped the red lights. Secondly, where the cars comfortable and safe enough. Remember one thing, as far as the cars are concerned, though the minister's car was not having ample safety measures, for instance, the international norms are we are supposed to have the airbags in the sideways as well, but the minister's car was not having those airways. Secondly, in India, it is a norm that as far as airbags and all the safety measures are concerned, they are bracketed within the luxuries. I mean, the cars project as if they possess airbags, it is a luxury to own it. It is not that. It is a basic feature, and the manufacturers of the cars have to understand that they're not providing this with any kind of luxury, but it is life that they are supposed to provide with every single unit that we buy from them. Secondly, and most importantly, remember, I mean, Maha, we all have been traveling in cars and in vehicles, and we all are callous at some point of time. Maybe in the younger days we were callous, or maybe even now we are callous. The reason is we feel that someone else would feel the heat, not we. We never include ourselves within the bracket that we are the ones who may one day may unfortunately lose a life. So we have to realize that even I may be in the peril, I may be in the danger if I am not following the norms and the traffic rules.
In fact, I'll take the first point that you were making, Sambit Patra, and go across to Mr. Kant over there, because you were talking about how this accident happened in the heart of Delhi, one of the poshest areas where one would expect that the police would be vigilant. Perhaps there would be CCTV cameras to catch the culprits, but really no CCTV cameras face the roads, and therefore perhaps for the police to clamp down upon such people is difficult. Mr. Kant, the police has been trying to introduce modern speed interceptor, laser-based radars, but that has been in the cold storage because of the cost. They cost 6 lakh rupees per radar, that is the interceptor. Now, when lakhs and crores of rupees are spent on celebrations and so much money gets drained off because of scams, do you think that it is justified that innocent lives are lost because the police can't get the basic thing, the traffic police can't get basic implements to check on people who are jumping red lights, who are speeding?
Mahab, I agree with you totally. In fact, I think there's 3 or 4 points that I would like to make. The first thing is that we should have a national road safety policy. It was brought under, there was a standing committee in Parliament which studied it in 2007. It was approved in 2012 by the Cabinet, but it somehow, for a variety of reasons, did not get implemented. Now, there's enough laws that you can make. There are facts that there's not enough signages, the signages are old, signages should be sort of made new as you have, and there are various sorts of policy makers who have talked about the European model. Somebody talked about the European model here. There are enough people who say that we should not follow the European model, but we should follow the Brazilian and the Chinese model where the number of cars are far more. But the fact of the matter is, the third most crucial point is that none of these laws are going to succeed unless the individuals themselves take responsibility for it. I agree with Sambit that we should not allow cars on the road which do not have airbags, period. Whatever car it might be. Because as they say, Mr. Munde would have, his life would have been saved, very tragic death that he had. If he was wearing seatbelt, that was one aspect of it. But supposing there were airbags in the car, his life could still have been saved. So we should make it illegal to have cars on the road without airbags which can protect the life of the people. So merely technology is not enough, but I would like to highlight the point that unless a massive campaign is taken across the country, that it is the responsibility of the individuals, whether it is jumping red lights, whether it is driving with care, whether licenses are issued after thorough due diligence, this menace is not going to go. So that is, and I think while I agree with you that why should this issue be taken when a VIP certainly goes. The life of every individual is important.
Absolutely.
But we should take care, and the government should absolutely take with immediate effect a massive campaign to educate the people.
Right.
And also somebody mentioned the highways. You are right. Sometimes highways, if you miss a particular cut, they go 30 kilometers long and the people break the laws there.
Well, absolutely,
so
sir. I do understand. We do understand that it's a problem of attitude as well in India, but how is that to be changed without strict implementation of laws and without the stick? We'll be discussing that. Well, after Gopinath Munde's tragic death, the clamour for better road safety norms is getting louder, especially among the political class. Listen in to the voices from the corridors of power. Sadly, they only seem to care when they themselves are hit by something so unfortunate.
Number of committees have gone into these aspects of the road safety. What we do, we should put all these things, recommendation into action. And there is nothing which we cannot be tackled at all. It's always avoidable. I think we need to act upon it.
रोड सेफ्टी तो पूरे हिंदुस्तान में जरूरत है. रोड सेफ्टी क्या जो मोटर व्हीकल्स एक्ट उसको लगता है आपको चेंज करना चाहिए? मोटर व्हीकल्स एक्ट से कुछ होगा या नहीं, लेकिन लाइसेंसिंग स्टेज पे, ड्राइविंग लाइसेंसिंग स्टेज पे बहुत कुछ करना जरूरी है.
ड्राइवर एजुकेशन, सिग्नल्स को हम लोगों को जारी रखना होगा. ये सोचना कि ये ऑफ आवर्स हैं तो सिग्नल्स ऑफ कर दें, ये ठीक नहीं है. आजकल ट्रैफिक राउंड द क्लॉक चलती है. लेकिन ड्राइवर एजुकेशन
केवल मोटर व्हीकल एक्ट में ही नहीं आवश्यक है कि उसमें बदलाव हो. जो ड्राइवर्स जिनको ट्रेनिंग मिलती है उनको भी सख्ती से हर एक निशान के बारे में मालूम होना चाहिए. कैसे
बढ़ती हुई आबादी सड़कों की सुरक्षा पर गंभीर प्रश्न खड़ा कर रही है. इस पर बैठ करके सचमुच संसद को विचार करना चाहिए.
Let me go across to Prince Singhal now for a quick reaction. Prince, can you help us understand the paltry amounts of fine that are imposed on something as serious as jumping of red lights and overspeeding? Do you think that needs to change to deter drivers?
Definitely. They need to be hiked up. I mean, 100 rupees not just enough. I mean, it has to be at least made 1,000 rupees. so that it pinches the person. You know, people are giving 100 rupees and getting free. So not just jumping a red light. I think overall fines has to be at least 10 times what they exist now.
Okay.
Whether it's drunken driving, whether it's talking on mobile, whether it's over speeding, overloading. So these have to be discussed at a macro level. And the decision has to be taken by the individual ministries.
All right.
And it has to be enforced across the country, as I said, as a uniform enforcement policy.
All right. Sambit Patra, also, do you think the problem starts at the inception itself? Because we've seen how easy it is in India to get a license for anybody. Also, it's so easy for people to manage to get fake licenses as well.
See, in India, it's very easy to get a license, and it is equally difficult to lose a license. In the Western countries, you would see if they do kind of wrong traffic policing, then probably they have the problem of losing the license. But over here, it is difficult to lose a license. Whatever you do, you hardly lose a license. Secondly, and very importantly, look at the attitude. India probably is the only country where you have to have a man to man the traffic light. In spite of the fact that you have a technical thing out there, you are supposed to follow the lights, but you have a man there, you have a traffic police who has to man it all. And at the end, I believe the attitudes and the technicalities really have to change so that at the end of the day, we all are safe.
Mr. Kant, what is the need of the hour then? How do we take this forward to ensure that innocent lives are not lost?
Mahab, 2 points to that. You know, while we can take many technical measures like even cancelling the license of people who indulge in it the first time, the second time, the third time, but the fact is, I would repeat myself that unless, you see, there comes an incident in the life of a nation which changes the entire thinking. Unfortunately, this tragedy has been very unfortunate, but it can be turned into an opportunity where a massive campaign like China took in family planning, which must be taken, which can be under the road safety policy, where you say that number one, cars without safety bags cannot be there, without the airbags cannot be there, it will be illegal. And secondly, you have to make them known the consequences of what will follow, and very strict and stringent consequences must follow. It's not 1,000 people who can pay 100 rupees can pay 1,000 rupees also. So it is not going to be that. You've got 2 years imprisonment. So I think it has got to be a combination of a massive campaign to educate people about the consequences of it, coupled with technology and very stringent punishment.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are really running out of time.
Reminding you of the fact that the Motor Vehicle Act was written. In fact, when there was no motor vehicles, there were only bullock carts and horse driving.
It's time to change that. It's time to change that. Prince Singhal, we are really running out of time over here. I'm afraid.
There has to be a political will. There has to be a political will to solve the problem.
Absolutely, there is no doubt about that. And as Sambit Patra was pointing out here, that the Motor Vehicles Act has to be changed itself because it's obsolete and old.
Mr. Modi should take this as a serious criminal offence, and there has to be some positive approach by this government on this issue.
Right. All right. Many thanks, Prince Singhal, for joining us this evening. Thanks also to Sambit Patra and Mr. Rashmi Kant for joining us.